It's damn near midnight right now. That's why I'm keeping it down. I don't want to wake anybody up here. So I've been working on this week's video, and I had it all done. I had all the audio, all the video, all the clips that I needed, everything good to go. Then a bear and an otter changed my mind. So instead, I want you to take this video as the open air meditation that it's turned into. At this point, I've repeated this story about 10 times in the last 5 days, and I'm tired of it, to be honest, so you'll please forgive me if I'm a little skimmy on the details, but here's the basics. On June 13, 2014, Ted Stone, also known as Mepps to the DCUO community, hijacked my livestream. Now, before you accuse me of poisoning the well, that's the term that Stone used, not me. Ted Stone is the community manager of DC Universe Online, and he has access to all the GM tools, so he started spawning enemies on top of me to kill me repeatedly. To put it mildly, I was not amused. When he finally got the message, he did stop trolling, but not before resorting to name-calling and apologizing for the confusion and not his actions. Later on in private message, Ted Stone told me that I was, and I'm quoting him here, absolutely the only person who did not enjoy having my livestream hijacked. In fact, a quick search of Mepps trolling DCUO on YouTube will show you dozens of videos of similar incidents. The reason that it bothers me is because it's a flagrant disregard for the code of conduct that we players have to adhere to. If I were to do something similar to what Ted Stone did, I would be warned or banned outright from the game. But Mepps does it, and it's all forgiven because, oh, it's Mepps, Senpai noticed me, No, that doesn't fly. It took about 2 months, but I finally did get in touch with somebody, Linda Brass Carlson, the director of Global Community Relations at Sony Online Entertainment at the time. Her response was that Ted Stone's actions on my livestream and his subsequent non-apology were expected and appropriate. She defended Stone by saying that he supplied action for my livestream and the intent was, and I quote again, meant to enhance the excitement surrounding the livestream. Enhancement and excitement that I neither requested nor wanted in the first place. Now the backhanded insinuation here is that this is Mepps saying, oh, well, your livestream is so boring that I have to come troll it in order to make it interesting. The other possibility is that he's saying that, well, DCO is so boring that the only way to make it look interesting is if I jump in and add some excitement to it. But something tells me that's not exactly what they were going for. Either way, that was it. I had chased this as far as I could, and I was going to get zero resolution. Carlson did tell me that she asked Stone to advise streamers when he planned to bring Iconics into the action. Now, I later found out that this didn't include other game masters and that DCUO GMs continue to troll other live streamers.
GM Candela took me out of the raid just so these bastards can actually kill me. Look, witness, I don't think that's funny. Not at all, not one bit.
Either way, I let it drop because I'm not going to get any closure, so why waste any more energy on it? Then, 7 months later, which is last week, DCUO announced that they're going to be moving forward with changes to their core gameplay. Now, when I looked at it, I disagreed with it entirely. Okay, let me be blunt here. DCUO introduced weapon mastery some time ago, and I saw the power creep issues that were going to get out of control because of it, and I called it out for what it was. Now, the power that players bring to every raid is just bloody ridiculous. So their solution is sort of brute force mentality. Don't reward people for doing old content, even if it's just one level back. Okay, let me tangent kind of wildly here. They're going to create a situation very similar to what World of Warcraft already has. Since there's no reward, not even a token reward for doing old content, it's basically going to be abandoned. You know, nobody does 25-man raids in WoW because there's no achievement to it. Well, you can get an achievement hunt, I guess, but there's no purpose. You don't get any reward out of it. And if you wanted to go back on achievement hunt, well, getting a group together is like pulling teeth from a chicken. So most of the content in WoW is just never played. I've been told several times that if I have a disagreement with how I see DCUO happening, to go on the forums because the dev team reads the forums and they'll take our feedback. So I opened with a joke. I said, hey, I'm just a stupid casual player, but here's what I take from this. Yeah, the post didn't even last 30 seconds. Almost immediately after posting, I was permabanned from the forums, citing insults as the justification. I was also blocked from their social media pages, which in the grand scheme of things is meaningless, and I was also banned from the DC Universe Online game world. Now, I was told later that I wasn't banned from the game, but all I know is I couldn't log into the world for about 10 hours after I made that post. I actually had to file a ticket before that ban was lifted. After being blocked, however, Ted Stone used the DCUO Twitter account to go on the offense, knowing that I would not be able to defend myself. He claimed that my ban was for personal insults on Twitter and elsewhere, but he wouldn't specify to whom nor where. He then went on to defend my banning by saying that other players were contributing to constructive discussion without resorting to personal attacks, and again stating that it was all for past incidences. Past incidences. Now, why he didn't take action during those past incidences, I have no idea. Well, actually, yes, I do have an idea. Because it would have been too obvious. There was no insults, there was just disagreement. He was just looking for an excuse. Let me make this short. What I think happened was that outwardly Sony Online Entertainment had to defend their community manager because, not doing so would have undermined his authority. But privately, they more than likely just chewed him out. And he sat on that for about 7 months, and he just waited for an opportunity to retaliate, because doing so immediately, well, then that would have been obvious that it was all related. Stone could have passed the case off to another game master. He could have taken the professional road and said, I have personal involvement, and walked away. He could have even just banned me without saying anything. But he didn't. He acted out and then took to the Twitter forums to speak as the voice of the company to settle his personal score with me. He needed to tell me that he did this. In gaming terms, this is the social media equivalent of teabagging, and about as mature, too. Soapbox mode. I have refereed for decades, so I completely understand the concept of not undermining the authority of those meant to enforce the rules. I get that. Thing is, though, that when it's demonstrable that the people who are meant to enforce the rules are not only breaking them but doing so flagrantly, you have to at least acknowledge that they're doing this and not become apologists. But so far at Daybreak Games, not a single person is willing to do that. This kind of abuse of power does not sit well with me, so I spent the weekend trying to get a sign of life from Daybreak Games, the parent company that used to be Sony Online Entertainment. All of my emails were bouncing and being ignored, so I went over their heads. I contacted Columbus Nova. If you're not familiar with the name, that's the investment company that bought SOE and created Daybreak Games. Now, through them, I was contacted by Brad Wilcox, the VP of Customer Service at Daybreak. He was there since the SOE days. Now, through him, I was told that he had contacted Ted Stone and one other person who I'm not familiar with, and as of this recording, nothing else has happened yet. Honestly, though, I just don't know what they can do to make it right, nor do I trust them to actually do anything, which leads me to this video and why I changed it at the last possible moment. Originally, I had this video ready to go. It was going to be 25 minutes of proof, evidence, barely contained rage and anger, but 2 messages did get through to me. One of them was from a friend, the aforementioned Otter, and without naming names, they related their time as a customer service rep and how frustrating it is when a customer gets angry and does not communicate what they want, and they have a good point. The second one is the Bear. Now, intentionally or not, a single Bear is the most zen Twitter account I have ever seen. Go follow him if you haven't yet. Bear just posted this article called Do Not Yell at Trees, which actually I needed to read tonight. If nothing else, it reminded me of a goal that I made in the first video of the year in which I said I can choose how I react to things. And my reaction was basically going to be no better than Ted Stone's. So you can call it apathy, you can call it wimping out, call it whatever you want to, but ultimately I choose my own actions. And I can choose to try not to take the path of anger. So yeah, I'm angry, but acting purely on that anger is going to get me nowhere. I mean, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen here based on my prior dealings with the company. Daybreak Games, previously Sony Online Entertainment, has a corporate culture of trolling their customers, and in the end, I'm a disposable customer and Mepps is linchpin. So as of this recording, I'm kind of leaving it open to Daybreak Games. That's probably not being very fair to them, but I really don't have any other good option here. I'm not going to get a real apology. I can't make them change. I can't ensure that they won't ban me again if I criticize them in the future, or even if they might escalate things even further. And apparently I can't make them understand that it's wrong for those in positions of power to abuse it and then blame the victim for it. Thing is, I still like the game. I like the combat system. I like the gamepad support. I like the character creation. I like most of the raids. Sorry, Paradox gives me vertigo. The only reason I've given Daybreak so many chances to make things right in the first place is because I like the game. But I'm finding that goodwill on my part might be a little misguided. You know, funny thing, back in June, if Mepps would have said, okay, look, I see you're not enjoying this, I'm sorry, here, let me make it right, and he were to even make the token effort of repaying my repair costs, yeah, I would have been not happy about it, but at least he would have been demonstrating that he understood that he overstepped his bounds. He didn't. Instead, he went straight for the attack mode, and then every step along the way that I pursued this, everybody has doubled down on that attack. So if Ted Stone can't back away from his personal war, I will.